Heights.
Yeah, on Castano. They were parking on the church. Yeah. We're on.
Alamo Heights football, a presentation of AH Sports Media. Tonight, the Mules eye a 5-0 start on the 2023 season, but opposite them, the Burbank Bulldogs. Burbank coming in, trying to do the exact.
The Mules are the Mules. They've had 11 people that we can score. We have the no-name defense so far, and we'll see if somebody steps up the defense and makes big plays tonight. We know Lauren Christensen has been coming along strong, as well as Will Roderick. So let's see if tonight they get tested another way.
Yeah, last week, of course, Alamo Heights, Vic. 49-28 victory in Harlandale at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. And tonight, as we mentioned, under first-year head coach Mike Mull coming over as a Taft assistant, and he's done a tremendous job in this first year. Headline spearheaded, if you will, by their literally do-it-all quarterback Kevin Hernandez.
Well, you know, it's funny that it's another Northside guy coming to SAISD to help not rescue a program, because the Burbank program has been successful for the past few years. Their coach, last year's coach, moved over to Lee High School and enters Mole, and now what you have is him just carrying on the tradition of success. So the Bulldogs aren't your run-of-the-mill SAISD team. They're one of the teams that have been the most successful. So we'll see what happens tonight. You know, they're the pride of the South Side, as they love to brag about. So we'll see how much of that pride shows up tonight.
Yeah, last season, Burbank going 7-4 on the campaign, 6-3 in district play. A postseason appearance that ultimately the season ended with first round defeat against Lockhart, but trending the right direction once again under Mull and this team. And Hernandez, of course, the guy that we're going to be talking about at length. But also on the defensive side of the ball, a team that's played pretty well in its own right. And interestingly enough, today, a reunion of sorts, family reunion of sorts for this Alamo Heights team and this Burbank team.
We may not be in Philadelphia, but this will be the bowl of brotherly love. And if I had to put my money on one brother, it's going to be Jordan Ricker. I've known him the longest. Didn't know he had a twin brother, but I like our chances from the seat we sit in, from the bird's eye cat view we sit in. I like what Jordan Ricker's done on defense. Clearly what his brother on the other side has done has been nothing short of spectacular, because they aren't defeated and they don't give up a lot of points. But sometimes when you face that Mules offense, it's like the Pony Express of the SMU days.
Yep, Mitchell Ricker is his twin brother's name on the opposite side. We believe this is the fourth time they met. The coaching staff couldn't confirm that. But in terms of opposite sidelines, this is the fourth time that they have faced off so far in their young coaching careers. As for Alamo Heights, Ron Ritteman last week, happy as, of course, you'd expect with a victory that they had. But the big talk has been the case throughout so far this season is continuing to take the right steps in the right direction. And that a case again last week in a balanced offensive showing, 471 yards, 327 on the ground. And as LaRon mentioned, 11 touchdown scores on the year, if you will, to this point. So that balance really coming together for this Mules team.
It does, and it's intriguing every week to see who it is that scores and how they score. We've had players of the game ranging all over that offense. I'm hoping tonight we can give one to the O-line, because they've been working hard this season. I don't know what else you can expect from the offense other than play design, right? If Coach Mike Branco says, let's add another wrinkle to this warp speed offense. They've been fortunate that they've started with average field position the 50. I'm being generous and kind. They haven't had to travel the length of the field. And if they did, that would be intriguing, because I don't know if it'd just be a longer touchdown score or they'd actually have to pick up 2 or 3 first downs and then strike. So those are the things we're looking for tonight. Does the explosive offense from anywhere on the field, the fast break offense, keep breaking, or are they going to have to work for it and earn some tonight?
Yeah, the Mules haven't had a 100% healthy offensive line since opening night. We're in week 5 now, and ever since,
Weekend.
3 or 4 linemen, I should say, either at least one lineman has missed a game, and tonight will be another of the same.
Yes, I hear you.
Spearheaded, though, that blindside tackle, the Captain Jackson Hildebrand, the Texas Tech commit, still there. And for the most part, if you got that anchor in the line, you're feeling pretty good if you're Colin Ernst. Just about 8 minutes or so from getting things underway here at SAISD Sports Complex. Alamo Heights and Burbank, 2 4-0 teams trying to make it 5-0. Only one will be able to do the task. Tonight, on the subject matter, we got our keys to the game. LARHON, talk to us.
So, you know, I'm kind of alluded to it earlier in the intro. The Bulldogs right now, their keys to victory, they have to have their do-it-all super stud, Kevin Hernandez, has to be exceptional. But he needs help from his running backs and receivers. On special teams, they must not allow short field in possession. So if they're punting the ball, they must get it down and they must travel down the field and tackle. Thirdly, their defense has to create turnovers. They cannot let the Mules just have their way and score from wherever. Keys to victory for the Alamo Heights Mules. Play to the stand. Team will move on to 5-0 overall, 4-0 in district, and they will again play upset spoiler as they normally do to their opponent that they face that's undefeated. Casey, those are the keys to victory today.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Before Alamo Heights gets a week to sit back and relax and take in the fact that they're hoping for it be a 5-0 on the season bye week next week before returning back home to Harry V. Orem Stadium for what will be basically the first time in a month, but obviously a big game standing in between that right tonight and, well, a nice bye week in between. So,
yeah, the bye week couldn't come at a better time, right? You've played five games, you get a break, you're midseason, halfway, and you return to not just an ordinary game, it will be our homecoming game when they return back, right? So the distraction won't be a distraction. Play that game, and the season's downhill from there.
All right, so 5.5 minutes or so before we get things going, we're going to step aside and give you the optics of both of our teams taking the fields. Alamo Heights and Burbank, 5 minutes away. You are watching Alamo Heights football and AH Sports Media Production.
cap simply on our flag and country flag. Coming onto the field, the Luther Burbank all-female color guard, representing the colors of the U.S. Guard, is Cadet Captain Avion Esquivel. U.S. flag and commander is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Leanne Castillo. Texas flag is Cadet Staff Sergeant Caroline Montañez. And the Texas Guard is Cadet Staff Sergeant Dejanay Slater. And the playing of the national anthem. Burbank Band, directed by Patrick Cheney.
Just about set for kickoff as week 5 already set to get underway here at SAISD Sports Complex. Along with LeBron Fields, Casey VIERA here with you, Taj Young on the sidelines. We'll check in with him throughout the evening. We were talking about pregame, we noticed Alamo Heights doing something they haven't done the entire season so far, and that's the uniform combination.
Yes, I'm not a uniform watcher, but tonight I am, and we're wearing the white top with the blue pants, and of course the customary golden dome. It's a unique look on the field tonight. We've got the Bulldogs in their orange tops and black pants, so it's not Halloween yet, but there may be some tricks or treats for this game, and we can't wait to watch.
On your screen, that's Kevin Hernandez. Be ready to hear his name tonight because, as we mentioned earlier, he is the do-it-all guy. No, he literally does it all. Plays quarterback, kicks off. He's the punter, the regular place kicker. He returns punts. He returns kicks. One of the many duties as assigned. I'll have the chance to do it again right now. Back to return Hart Zunker and Trick Johnson. On a 96-degree evening in San Antonio, they go right to the ground. Loose football. Burbank has it, and they do. Well, how about that? You're going up against the best team in the district, the reigning champs in the district. You got to do something loud, make an impression. And that is about as good a way to do it.
That's how you start a ball game. When you're going up against a juggernaut, you can't fight fair. You have to pull out the stops, but also if you're a juggernaut, you have to respond and the defense gets the first call of duty.
That's Super Bowl Sean Payton level stuff. So back to work. We will see the aforementioned Hernandez already winning so far, getting that kick return to go his way, and now we'll show off the arm going to his left. Pass is incomplete. Was looking for Justin Willis. Defense was the conversation when you and I met up with Ron Ritteman earlier this week, and coming off of performance where they went up against a senior offensive line. All 5 of them were seniors. They were big, probably the biggest faced all year. And coach feeling good about it as Hernandez going to hold on to it. Not a whole lot going on, bring up 3rd down. And a big reason why he credits last week's victory was just the energy.
Yeah, well, definitely. And this week is a contrast. The O-line for Burbank is pretty much juniors. So our D-line should have some success, but we'll have to find out. So far, so good. It is deadly in our eyes.
That is the disadvantageous part. And thankfully, it's starting to cool down. But if you're a visiting team here, you are opposite of that setting sun. So when we were here, I guess 3 weeks ago now, for the Brackenridge game, we could probably echo the sentiment that they were saying on the sidelines Alamo Heights was, because it was brutal. As passes complete to the far side left, it's going to be enough for a 1st down. Going to be just short. Ball spotted a couple yards short, no-brainer for Coach Mull. Going to go for it on 4th down and 2.
They're in a hurry-up offense, so they're trying to draw them off sides. I see the coach signaling a play. They're adjusting and shifting, but let's see if they go with the run or pass. So far, they've been successful with the pass.
That was Penuela's the grab, so now it's Hernandez one more time. Got some company in the backfield. One of the pair of backs going to his left. Pass is complete. Looks like it's going to be enough for 1st down close. It will. So move the chains. And positive start to this drive for the Bulldogs. Direct snap. This is Penuela's again getting to the outside. Runs into the host of white and blue. Picking up this pace. Something that Alamo Heights really hasn't seen for 4 weeks.
And look, I've been saying it. If you're going to place the Mules, you have to come out with tempo. You have to come out slinging and swinging. And this lets me know that Coach Mull did his homework, and they are prepared today because they showed up to play.
Yeah, Coach Mull coming by way, first-year head coach coming from Taft, as this is Hernandez is crushed. Lauren Christensen with the sack from behind. Arriaga getting in there as well. So it's going to bring up a 3rd down and long, and the Heights defense coming up big.
Here's what we've seen before. Our team gets the momentum, and then our defense shows up and puts the team in 3rd and long. This is a play. This is a down right here that's going to be very crucial.
So let's see if they can get into field goal range. The Bulldogs, as this operating with it is Penuela's. Going to be short of the marker.
Right there, I thought we were a little too soft in defensive coverage. We gave up 10 yards without even challenging the receiver. Now it's 3rd down and 9, and we'll see what happens on this play. Burbank has been very strategic in their passing attack. Oh, sorry, 4th down. You're right.
Hernandez going to look across the middle, miscommunication, and so the drive, a promising one at its start for Burbank, going to end with a little bit of a thud, and Alamo Heights stands their ground and will take over, forcing a turnover on downs.
What a first drive for Burbank. It was exciting. It had Alamo Heights fans probably in the gas. It was also a good test for the Alamo Heights defense because, as we said earlier, we have not seen a team come out and actually attack us, look us straight in the face, and swing on us. So good response by the defense. Here comes the offense.
Under the direction of senior quarterback Colin Ernst, last week, the 4th leading rusher, 3rd leading rusher in the district.
Pretty stout defense right there. Arriaga is not a small man, and two Burbank Bulldogs wrapped him up, and he couldn't shake him.
Make it.
Up DK.
That's one. I'll take it.
I'm always trusting Casey, wherever we go, like GPS.
Okay, Garza, the sophomore, running back, 5'9", 168. Started the pass really in addition to Arriaga. No gain on the play, going to be a second had a receiving
Touchdown last week.
coming by way of Michael Terry and the going to be a false start on the
Not a great start for the offense. Right now we've had not a negative play, but a non-gaining play, which is the first of the season on the first series. And now we have a false start, which we have seen this season, and we'd hope by this point we'd start cleaning up. So the Mules need to get it together and start getting in gear.
Not the most immaculate performance last week from McCollum, or against McCollum on that front. 9 penalties for 76 yards. If you want to pick an area of concern, and I probably say that loosely, that's been it. It hasn't been immaculate, if you will. Michael Terry, contrarily, he has been immaculate. Hurdles the defender, hit out of bounds, doing what he does. Joe Trejo knocking him out of bounds, getting it past midfield. First down for Heights. A little bit of theatric from the playmaker.
Players make plays, and Mike Terry's a player. Let's get that man cooking.
He also coming off a
touchdown performance last week against
Heights jumped out to a 21-0 advantage quickly within the first 4 minutes.
that game last week against the Cowboys. It's a first down coming as the Mules across midfield. That'd be 48. Back to the ground. That's Terry.
Going to pick up the first down just about.
Back to Terry is there. They'll look at it. LaRhon has a better eye. They're saying it's going to be short, so spotted a couple yards short. Maybe a second and 2.
It's not that my eyes are good. It's just it's Old Faithful out there in the stripes who misspotted the ball. But, yeah, so it's fortunate for Alamo Heights that you have a number 2, Michael Terry, in the backfield, who, when things don't look like they're starting off right, you can hand it off and spark a light.
From a numerical standpoint, Terry has been quiet the past couple of weeks, and I say quiet relatively loosely. I say that in the sense of fewer touches as Garza pick up a minimal game that looks like it might be enough to move the markers. But Terry,
2 weeks ago.
only 5 touches. Silence. Blowout win last week. 8 touches, but both of those games essentially.
Playing 2.5 quarters, if you will.
So the numbers have been very much, we talked about it last week, the numbers have been very much skewed for some of these teams in the early portion, not Heights, not beyond Heights, other teams
Included when you're measuring the leaderboards.
I'm going to stick to just Heights, right? Because some of these other teams, they may get the one blowout vector here and there, but for the most part, their starters are playing the whole game. This is like last year where we had Conley McKenna, quarterback, who didn't win all district honors because he only played half a quarter and didn't have the stat line that would suggest what he should have been.
Xavier
Salazar would have taken out Conley McKenna because he took that It's faster than Conley McKenna.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, right?
But because he is faster, that means the target's on his back.
that is.
So after the Salazar stop,
The sophomore class at 26, it'll be a second down and 9 from the 36, approaching the midpoint of this first quarter here at SAISD Sports Complex. Back on the ground, Terry, nowhere to go. That 4-3 front causing some early chaos in the front 7. And standing up, holding their ground, going to bring up a 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 9.
When I told you that this is the pride of the South Side for SISD, this is what I was talking about. They're not bulldogs, in my opinion. They're junkyard dogs, and they're laying that wood tonight tight. So if our Mules don't get the memo and the message in this first quarter, they're in for a long night.
yeah, very energized bunch, as you can tell at this point. And we talk about the pride of the South Side. Look at that far side bleacher, home bleacher, capacity.
The band is the loudest opponent's band we've heard all season.
And understandably so. Your team's 4-0. You have every
Reason to come out and feel good. So on the 3rd down and 7, this is Ernst looking left, rolling out. got the rush behind him, got to pick up the first down, keeping the play alive, gets to the 20, staying on his feet just outside of the 15. Well, for as much hype the Burbank team has on the defensive end, not much you can do about that. Colin Ernst electrifying with his feet, picking up a first down and putting the Mules inside the red zone.
As a D coordinator, you got to pick your poison. Either you're going to cover deep or you're going to pressure up front. They chose to drop back that time, and Colin Ernst made the right decision. Instead of throwing it for 30 yards, he ran it for 30 yards.
104 yards on the ground last week, has yet to have a game with fewer than 100 yards this season, has 480 in district play of district games. That's the third best in the league. Michael Terry right there in the conversation.
We'll see where it stands. He had a lot of
Space open up there and some white jerseys helping him along the way.
and it is going to be a hole.
So move them back, upcoming.
Hold on
Touchdown
the
off the
perimeter.
board.
I think defender number 8 was allegedly being held, depending on what you call blocking nowadays. But he would have scored regardless if that man was not blocked, so I just have to do it again.
Number 8 linebacker being held. Interesting note, as we talked about the Ricker twins
Coaching Jordan on.
the defensive side of the football on the Heights side. Twin brother Mitchell, the D quarter on the other side.
The defense for this Burbank team has 2 sets of siblings as well. One of them twins.
The Mace brothers, Aiden, who was just held, and Ezra, a pair of linebackers, and then Jason and Jacob Rodriguez, also a pair of senior linebackers. Those are twins. As back to the ground, it's Terry. Not a whole lot going on. 1st and 18. Going to be a positive gain, but not much behind that, and more whistles on the play.
Once again, as I mentioned, it's amazing that you can call holding, but you can't call offsides. And I'm not saying someone's doing a bad job, but I'm just not thinking they're doing the job. So hopefully if you're watching online, you can see what I see and you understand what the assignment is.
That was Jackson Hildebrand coming off the field who lost his helmet.
Captain. Good day for Jackson today
Yes.
at campus, getting recognized by Ken's 5 as their Excel Athlete of the Week. So a belated congrats to him, the Texas Tech commit, student of LaRhon Fields, additionally, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, he's an accelerator program. He's a part of his own company. He's an entrepreneur, folks. Jackson Hildebrand is a part of War Bands. Check him out. Google War Bands. Check him out on Instagram.
Terry, the reception, going to pick up the first down. It is
Michael
on the
Terry.
rollout, Michael Terry.
A model for War Bands, so he's getting his War Band on right now.
Is that true?
Yeah, very true.
Oh. Is that a paid gig?
We're homies. We play football. I like to do flips. You should wear a War Band. We're startup. Let's get it.
So it's going to be short of the first down. A 3rd down and 3 upcoming from the 10. Pair of receivers out to Ernst is left, joined in the backfield by DK Garza and Terry as it's back to the ground. Gets the first down, does the junior, and a little bit more short of the end zone. Michael Terry, a little more assertive to start this game than we've seen the past couple of weeks, LaRhon, understandably so.
I think it's more so Barenko just trusting in his playmaker, right? Because Michael Terry's been running through that line and getting yards and not being stopped, where DK's more of a lighter back. I think Mike's in there to loosen up that defense and then put DK in other spots to get through the line quicker.
That's the first time we've really seen that extended so far, and this is the first time we've seen this. Robert Mickler under center and Colin Ernst lining up out at receiver. Snap goes to Terry. Going to do it himself, though. Touchdown, Alamo Heights. 2-yard score for number 2. Mules on the board. It's 6-0.
Although the Mules scored on the Bulldogs, going back to keys to victory, I said they needed to make the Mules earn it and drive the field. So in a way, it's a victory for the Bulldogs as well.
It's an interesting way that you phrase that, because one of the things Coach Mull talked about with us as the extra point for Flores is good. Coming into this game for Burbank, he referred to it as a win-win, because if you win the game, well, that's a win. But for a program that's where they're at now under a first-year head coach who took over in May, no less, coming in and facing a team like this, it's a good bar game. it's a good barometer game. So regardless of the end result, just looking forward to this because you get an idea of how good that 4-0 really looks. And through the first 10, just shy of 10 minutes, Burbank has looked like they belong.
They're the only team we've seen that looks like they belong, correct? And what's amazing is, we assess the opponents every week of who's going to finish behind Alamo Heights in the standings. So right now we've seen a McCullum team. We're watching a Bulldog team. We still have Harlandale, Sam Houston, Edison, and Lanier up. So it's going to make for an interesting race to see who finishes number 2. If I had to put who I thought would finish 2, right now Burbank looks like that number 2 squad. We haven't seen Harlandale, but we know for certain from who we have seen, the Bulldogs are up there.
And I think part of the reason why is being diplomatic at times, saying when Heights have shown moments of vulnerability, teams haven't capitalized on this. And you saw it right from the opening kickoff. This is a Bulldog team that looks assertive, has plenty of assertion there, and getting up to the 40 on the return, doing the job.
Just to piggyback off that, right?
Leo Lozano.
This is one of those games where I think that's going to get Coach great tape. Because, yes, this Bulldog team was assertive. Yes, this Bulldog team may attack our vulnerabilities. They're also looking at us saying, we're not scared of you, 09. And that's what you need on tape to go as a coach, to go to your players and say, we can't walk into any game lackadaisical. We can't take any opponent lightly. We've got to play to the standard.
Yeah, Coach Mull really has this group bought in on the far side. And one of the things, and ball loose on the play. Looks like the Mules have it. And they do. Dylan Valdez, or Leo Lozano, I should say, in the backfield, running into a host of tacklers. It's forcing the turnover. We're going to take over at the 34-yard line. That is not 34-yard line. So good opportunity presenting itself by way of the defense.
Will Broderick went in there and laid the wood, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why he fumbled the ball, because he hit him hard enough for today, tomorrow, and next week. So the unfortunate thing, though, right, the Bulldogs came out with all this testosterone and energy, and we almost may be looking at home de replay. We've seen this before.
Hey, Mr. DJ.
Hey, Mr. D.
So it's at the 34 with 2:19 to go. Very fast-moving first quarter, mind you. Ertz with Garza out there. He's going to keep it himself, staying on his feet, crossing the 35. Ertz getting to the outside, tripped up just outside the 15. Going to take it just shy of the 10, a shoelace away from making this 13-0. Colin Ertz taking advantage of the good blocking once again.
I don't know if you saw this, but Patrick Arriaga has entered the offensive huddle. He may be getting his turn to churn. Going back to that last play where we had the Mickler at quarterback and Ernst on the outside, that's something to look forward to. It's funny, we joked about that in class this week. I'm not joking.
I'm not anticipating that you were. And Mickler seeing reps at tight end and H-back, that vicinity as well, usage, if you will, as has Arriaga.
And the reason why I'm saying not joking, because I was actually joking with him, and Stone Cold Face, he wasn't like, how did you know? But it came to play. Like, man, that would be great if you go in at quarterback and have Ernst on the right side and you got Terry, and like he just like looks at me like I already knew the game plan. I was like, no, I
watch you every week, bro.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about.
Well, here's what's funny. He's number 3 kinship going on.
He said something about the fact that Brady's probably been able to get more reps to pass than him.
That was the joke in the class. It was like, hey, it all started with him wearing his Todd Dodge passing camp shirt, which led to a conversation. And then, they're both juniors, so next year they're both seniors. Like, we're going to grind all summer and may the best man win, because that's, they're friends, but they're both quarterbacks.
I have to.
I was like, hey, why don't y'all politic Branko to have y'all both start, and then whoever doesn't get the snap is the running back, and whoever gets.
Heights is going to have to run a play here with a 3-second differential between the end of the quarter and the play clock on a 3rd down and 1 from the 5. They're going to spread it out once again. Ernst goes to the ground. Terry running out of trouble, gets to the outside. Touchdown, Michael Terry. Second of the game, second of the quarter. 13-0, Alamo Heights with 5 seconds left in this opening frame.
That was a grown man run because this Bulldog team can tackle. This is the first time we've seen this kind of resistance on our running game and running backs and quarterback. You can't just attempt to juke them out their socks or shorts. You actually have to put the burners on, lower your shoulder, and get through. And there should be a penalty on this one, roughing the snapper, but I don't see Laundry on the field. If I'm not mistaken, you can't run over the deep snapper.
You are not mistaken. And the extra point is no good. So leave the score at 13-0 with 5 seconds left to go in this quarter. Piggybacking on Michael Terry, and this must be by design. Who would have thought for the first time in 3 weeks, we're saying they're being super assertive with Michael Terry in this first quarter. Probably the most we've seen since week 1 in the opening possession of the Seguin game. His first 7 plays, he touched the ball 5 of them. Well, and now this is probably the most we've seen assertive we've seen with him in an opening quarter, capping off what was now a 34-yard drive.
To add to that, and it's in the running game. It's not the passing game. He hasn't had caught a ball yet. So I'm assuming they saw something on tape, and the energy of the game today, they felt like they had to go to their comfort spot, and that was Michael Terry on the ground.
We're starting to get a whole lot more comfortable, too, because that sun is just about gone behind the home bleacher.
Feels like a whole new ball game.
Yep. That's a win.
Deep kick to the 10.
This return will probably take us to the end of the first as nobody home, but a flag on the play in the area of what would be a block in the back. We'll find out. But either way, that'll be how the first quarter comes to a close here at SAISD Sports Complex. Alamo Heights on top of Burbank, 13-0. You are watching Alamo Heights football, a presentation of AH Sports Media. Second quarter just about to get underway here at SAISD Sports Complex, along with LaRon Fields, Taj Young. My name's Casey VIERA. Mules working on a 13-0 lead as we open the next 12 minutes of play. Holding call on the return prior to the break. So a little bit of real estate, or not a whole lot of real estate, I should say, for the Bulldogs to work with. The ball's going to be spotted at the 9-yard line, coming off a turnover. So Burbank not making their lives.
Well, right now this is a position for the Mules to either make a big play like a safety, a stop. What you don't want to have happen is get beat deep. So let's wrap up.
Hernandez got trouble coming, gets away from Duperier, still got it off.
Time Espinosa keeping the play alive, turning nothing into something. Good job by Hernandez. Exactly that, making it a gainer.
Game of inches, and that was an inch away from being disastrous for Burbank. Turned into a nice gain.
Yeah, pickup of 8 to second down 2 instead of going down -2 play.
Hernandez once again keeping it to himself, getting around the host of white jerseys and taking it out of bounds, picking up the first down, move the chains for the Bulldogs. Kevin Hernandez, the junior quarterback, does something I've never seen any other Kevin do. I spelled his name.
Definitely unique. Definitely unique spelling of the name.
It's working. That's what people know him as now. Kevin with 2 E's.
Kevin with 2 E's. I'm sure he gets the Kevin instead of Kevin, but
Here's Hernandez up and out of the pocket. He's going to take him down. Lord Rivers as well. Might have got back to the line of scrimmage. Got to bring up second down.
unfortunate with that helmet popping off. Their best player goes off the field. Who's in at quarterback?
Yeah,
Brings on Roman Garcia. Very interesting note about freshman Roman Garcia. Back to the ground. Positive game. Third down. Roman Garcia is 14 years old.
Should be an 8th grader, but
As in turned 14
a couple months ago.
over the summer. And they're feeling really good about it. Those slot Espinosa. Mules doing a good job sticking out on the screen.
A punt, but
Back to Garcia, 14 years
old, true freshman. Well,
I guess in high school everyone.
yeah, this isn't in college. He didn't get a red shirt year.
This isn't, not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
he doesn't get 4 games and gets to shut it down.
Mike Paul's a big fan of him. He said not so quietly, but to a certain degree, he wants to get it to a point where at some point in this season, he can use Hernandez more everywhere else and Garcia at quarterback. But having a kid who's barely a teenager, 2 years removed from just becoming a teenager, in that spot is tough. But he's been impressed. He's been impressed with his physical skills. He's been more so impressed with his mentals, but understandably so, a very big positive to build off of, and something that Coach Mull's looking forward to for the next 4 years.
3 years. But I will say this.
3.5.
The throw he just made right there, yes, it was a run-of-the-mill screen pass, but it was on a rope. So I can see why he's excited, right? If you could get him the skills to read a whole defense, because like you said, he just played middle school ball. Nobody's as big, nobody's as fast. If he can get that down, he will be a weapon for them to get Kevin Hernandez the ball on the perimeter.
That's one of the MOs for Mull when taking this job. This is Arriaga crossing the 35 down to 37. That was one of the motives for Coach Mull when he took over this job, was that he wanted to expand the developmental system for this program. What I mean by that, what I mean by that is that he wanted to get a lot of these kids we see at times on the varsity reps who might not have been seeing reps. And part of the way you do that is you take the freshmen off of JV, and for the first time in a long time, they have a freshman team this year. And that was not the case. And that was a focus of him beyond the product what we've seen on the field so far, which is playing well in the course of the season. They're 4-0. The goal was to expand the development, and of course, making a freshman team is how you do that. Timeout, Alamo Heights.
Well, it's always tricky, right? Sometimes you don't have a freshman team because of numbers. Sometimes you have your freshmen playing up because they could be more talented than some of the people you have on your team. And as a former coach, sometimes I love freshmen up because I get more time to develop them at a higher level, at a faster rate. I remember many times I'd had freshmen on JV to get them somewhat exposed to what varsity is going to be like. So when they're sophomores, they wouldn't be as shell-shocked when those lights kicked off on Fridays. But Coach Mull's doing an awesome job. This program has not skipped a beat. the energy, the pride, the resounding attention to detail is there. So they're giving us a fight. I know it's only 13-0 right now, but it feels a lot closer than 13-0.
Of the skill position players on the offensive end, largely upperclassmen, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 players, 7 starters, or players who I guess get notable touches, who are either juniors or seniors. The one who gets touches, an upperclassman, is Leo Lozano. Leo Lozano, who they use as an H-back, he has over 320 all-purpose yards so far this season. He is a sophomore. Second down and 3 of the coming out of 37 for Alamo Heights. Ernst on the ground to his left, gets a pair of good blocks, staying to his feet, dragging a pair of orange jerseys with him. Looks like a defender might have got a hand on that face mask from here. No flag on the play, though. It's going to be enough for the first down. Plenty. Good job blocking there by the receivers on the left side.
Definitely kept it clean. Didn't get a penalty for holding this time. I was just about to make the comment. Ernst has kind of been quiet tonight. To your point of being assertive with Michael Terry, I just think they've been assertive with, we're going to run the ball tonight. I think we've thrown the ball once all game. So the plan must be to run it down their throat, and let's see if that continues.
And that wasn't anything of note. Anything of novelty was a short pass, a screen pass. That is a pass. Arriaga. Getting about 7 second down coming to the 45-yard line. Patrick Arriaga, who was moved to linebacker after week 1, primarily, to add some, I guess, energy and enthusiasm, if you will, more so Ron Prittiman's word in the line, to which it worked. But now, really over the past game and almost a half now, he's been back in a little bit more of his more traditional role in the backfield.
It's great to be a utility player, play both sides of the ball, especially as a junior. So we'll see if it keeps up. Oh!
Deflected, hauled in. This is Kingston Kenny. He is in touchdown. Alamo Heights for the first time this season. The junior is on the board, number 84. Quick hands when he needed them. 19-0 Alamo Heights.
Again, I think he's the last player possible to score a touchdown for the Mules. And Colin Ernst throws the ball in the rope. He was alert. The finishing of the run for the touchdown was just as immaculate as the catch. Watch for the potential fake. Nope.
So the score, a 43-yard score, extending the advantage to 20-0. 20-0 Mules at the.
I find it ironic that last week we went for 2 unknowingly, and we were, with no special reason, and now we're not going for 2, and it could have been a way to get an extra point, but I'll take it however we get it. I'm just trying to keep up this year with how we do things.
You are. LaRon Fields is all about consistency.
No, I like being on the edge of my seat. I like not knowing what's going to happen, right? I'm liking this year's offensive mojo. It's not predictable. It's, as Jamie Foxx said, unpredictable. And so that was a hit song, so let's make this a hit season.
I would say 4-0 and a 20-0 advantage through a quarter and a half in the ensuing game would entail a hit season to this point.
Definitely. Definitely.
Just making sure we're on the same page.
We are on the same album, same song, on the same stage.
It's a lot of similarities. So we'll see what Burbank can respond with. Now, suddenly down 20-0 here at this 8:09 mark in the third quarter, as Flores's kick is going to bounce out of bounds. So put the ball at the 25 for Burbank, where they will take over. Coach Mull this week, one of the things I think that stood out about our conversation, and of course with a lot of these high school coaches, it goes beyond football. It's building character people. I'm not sure if I have spoken to a coach who seemed as invested as he was in the person that he's developing with these kids, to the point that I wrote down the quote verbatim, "Kids give me a purpose." That was really refreshing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a coach, it's beyond the game. You spend so much time with the kids on your team that it can't just all be about football. This is a vehicle.
In the slot they go. This is Izzy Zapata getting to the outside, taken out just outside the 40-yard line. Zapata, the leading wide receiver on this team, the junior, and crossing midfield for the first time today. The Bulldogs getting something going on the offensive end.
When you give the defense an advantage. Now, if it's a run, pull up, and pass, if they're setting that up, then that's a good strategy. Our corners are up hard pressed.
So 2nd and 11 upcoming. Hernandez on the option, keeping it himself, crossing midfield, just shy of the 45 to the 47 it goes. So going to be about a 3rd down and 4, 3rd down and 5, or
13.
13. Right, they put the ball back.
Yeah,
3rd down and
push them back. This is almost like a Navy Army type offense when Kevin Hernandez is back there. It's motion, it's fake handoff, it's read, it's keep. Now it's a pass.
This is Zapata again, eluding the white jerseys. Heights got in the backfield quickly, not able to pick up much of a gain. So 4th down and long upcoming. Hernandez will stay on the field for his requisite do-it-all duties, and will try to put the Heights squad, the Heights offense, back in a less than favorable position. He
have to be on alert here.
Yep, staying on the field to pass, actually, and he's going to go deep. Looking for Espinosa, just overthrew him. Espinosa had a little bit of an angle. Hernandez saw that, just put a little too much on it. So, again, Alamo Heights going to take over. Good field position to tack onto this lead.
I like the gutsy call, Casey. However, what I would have preferred is that receiver going towards the middle. Kevin Hernandez is a quarterback, but he's not that kind of quarterback to get an accurate pass. So you need to get the ball in the middle of the field. There was zero safety help, and you would give your player a better chance. Yeah. Mic up. It is up. It's. That's what I'm saying. Mike's been down. Sorry.
So back come this Mules offense as we hit the 6.5-minute mark. Terry on the ground. Runs into a host of defenders, gets to the outside, keeping the play alive, still on his feet at the 30, and pushed out right around there. Michael Terry continues to be the focus on the ground this evening and moving the ball the right side of the field, and there's a Bulldog down on the play.
That was a good gain.
Yeah, a gain of about 20 on the play for the Mules. So Terry yet to have a catch. All of his touches now have been in the backfield. 2 passes so far for Colin Ernst, as back on his feet for Burbank. That is Joe Trejo, the linebacker / safety, depending on the formation. He's up, he's okay. So put the ball at the 31-yard line for Heights, trying to tack on to a 20-0 lead here at the 6:16 mark in the first half.
Right now we're behind pace, if that means something to you. If we do get this touchdown, we'll kind of be on pace, but normally we go into halftime at 35.
Yeah,
points.
Past 3 weeks it's been the case. Well, last week was 42.
Yeah. In the game, which we felt like was closer, but it wasn't.
It did. 2nd straight week in a row as movement on the Burbank side. Well, either way.
Big break.
Either way, big break. It takes away what would have been a fumble. So off what turned into a free play is going to be a 1st down and 5 from the 26 for Ernst and company. Same formation they just went out with before. Pair receivers to his right, and Terry on its ground. It's back to number 2. Puts on the hezzy, crosses the 20-yard line, just shy of the 15. Michael Terry picking up the 1st down. Move the chains for the Mules behind number 2.
We have to take care of the football. That's something that Colin Ernst, as the leader of the team, the quarterback, has to be aware of. You can't be willy-nilly and free with the ball. Luckily, on the onside kick, the special teams didn't recover. We overcame that, but you just got to practice securing the ball.
Yeah, approaching the 5-minute mark here in this first half. As Mike Barenko's offense continues to go out there with this 2-receiver set, if it's working, you have room on the left side to let your guy work, might as well go back to it. Let's see if they do again. They do. Terry back at it, and this time the Bulldogs right on top of it. A host of orange and black making the play, going to bring up a second down.
The Burbank linebackers are scraping, and they're running downhill. They're not afraid to make contact with Michael Terry. This would be a great opportunity for Barenko to find a way to get Terry the ball, but allow him to go back to that jump pass, find Bennett Johnson or whatever receiver streaking down the middle, because they are committing to the run at this point. They believe the Mules are running. We need to give them something different. Yeah,
that's a play they've gone to at least twice from a successful standpoint, inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line. If it gets to that point, we'll see if they go back to it again. They go to his left. This is Anderson Vaga staying on his feet. A big-time hit on the play. It's going to be just shy of the first down marker, so it would appear from up here. It's a name we haven't talked about a whole lot, but using your tight end to get inside the red zone, always safe.
It's a smart move. And this is a good game to practice that, right? Because you have a very aggressive defense, and you're probably keeping your tight end in to block, extra tackle, but you almost have to sell a block and go for the passing route. This Burbank team came to hit. I can tell you that.
They're an aggressive, assertive bunch.
Yeah.
They're an energetic bunch. You got to give them that. Ernst
coming off the corners.
Back to the ground. This is Terry. And there's that defense one more time. Clog in the middle. So no gain, or it would appear from up here, no gain. Going to bring a 2nd and goal from the 8, maybe the 7.
Right now, again, and I'm not saying we're being conservative, but we're actually running to the strength of their defense right now. In this red zone, they are playing bend but don't break defense, and they're definitely filling up the gaps in the run game right now.
Coach Ball on the far side really likes his pair of Ryans, if you will, at the tackles. Ryan Rodriguez and Ryan Vasquez making up the heart of that defensive line. So 2.5 minutes to go in this first half. Ernst, Terry, make it Park Zunker. Touchdown, Alamo Heights. The junior is 3rd TD reception of the season. It's 26-0 Mules.
It was a nice pitch and catch situation right there. Park Zunker with the sure hands. Beat his defender, got inside of him, and easy pitch and catch touchdown for your Alamo Heights Mules.
Yeah, 2nd consecutive week. Park Zunker, number 7, has had a receiving touchdown. Had one last week against McCollum, in which the previous 2 weeks he did not have a reception, or he had 1 reception over 2 weeks, and that was following a week 1 evening, which he had both a receiving and returning touchdown. So extra point good. 27-0 Mules lead here at the 2:25 mark on the passing touchdown for Colin Ernst. Numbers on the season now in the air reads 9 TD passes to only 1 interception for the senior captain, having him right now at a 27-0 lead here at SAISD Sports Complex.
Casey, although this game is not going the way that Burbank had hoped it would go, I'm still impressed. And I'm going to keep saying this until the cows come home and I see a couple walking this way. But they're fighters, man. And in the honor of Thanksgiving, Alamo Heights football should be thankful that this opponent is respecting them enough to show up and swing, even when down. Last week against McCollum, you kind of saw, but not really. This team is actually believing that they belong on this field. It is their field, but they act like they belong.
Yeah, good crowd tonight here on the south side as kick goes out of bounds. Or through the back of the end zone, I should say, for the touchback.
Like, yeah, the right out of bounds.
The right out of bounds. The out of bounds that you want. The good out of bounds. Now, again, a good capacity crowd for the Bulldogs tonight, a very enthusiastic fan base, and understandably so. The program was heading the right direction as it was, and that was kind of one of the things Coach Mull was very appreciative for, because it, you see some of these coaches come in and it's a full-blown reclamation project. He said even if I didn't get the job, I knew things were trending the right way for these guys. And when you're coming off a playoff appearance and a 6-3 season in district play, yeah, you are feeling good about things. Hernandez had a man. He had Zapata, just had his back to the ball, couldn't time it up, sneaking through. Somebody had a blown coverage there. I'm not sure who. But either way, out of the slot, Izzy Zapata was wide open, just couldn't get on the same page with Hernandez.
Right now, if you're Burbank, you have to make that decision. Do we kill the clock and go to half, or we keep throwing and stop the clock? We'll see what they do right here on second down. Yeah,
they're going to load up that right side to block for Hernandez, who's going to hold on to it, stay on his feet. Cross midfield, still getting chased by a host of white jerseys. Kevin Hernandez, his longest run of the day. And so for the third time today, Burbank is going to cross midfield. So the offense continues to move well as the ball put at the 48-yard line, and the offense staying upbeat.
Here we go with the tempo. So that play right there gave them life to keep pushing the pedal.
Leo Lozano, name we haven't talked about a whole lot today.
Has not.
Out of the Wildcat. And now a little bit of trickeration. This is Dylan Valdez. Valdez getting it up to the 40-yard line. Not going to get the first down, but something we haven't seen yet today was they package it a little bit tighter and give the ball to their running back. Yeah, that bunch formation. Valdez one more time.
Bulldog, but you can't keep going to the well over and over.
Nope.
At some point, you got to know you're facing the juggernaut in Alamo Heights, and you can't play the tricks. They're for kids.
Yeah, they got...
I mean, you got to go deep at this point, right? Like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice.
Not going to fool Blake Killian. That's exactly what he said after the tackle, actually.
I don't doubt it. Trick. Hey, you don't play that. Homie don't play that, right? And we aren't clowns.
So it forces a punt, or it would appear at least, as we near the 1 minute mark, 10-second differential from play clock and game clock, and it looks like they will take the delay of game to give it a little more real estate. They will, or a timeout. A timeout. 51 seconds left to go. Timeout first.
Timeout. Hold on.
One little last gasp before we head into halftime. 30-plus points on the board. Now that I say that out loud, every one of those games they did have a 30-point lead in every one of them. It's 42-7. That is, in fact, 35. Well, no, the last four.
Yeah, definitely.
Counting today.
Counting today.
It would be 4 consecutive games.
30-plus points at the half. And plenty of time to do that. Pair of timeouts to go as well as Trip Johnson set to return.
Who we have not seen line up from scrimmage yet today.
No, but maybe we can take a trip down memory lane and get to that end zone before this 50 seconds runs out.
All about recollection.
So ball's going to be snapped from the 45-yard line here. It'll be a 4th down and 7.
Do the Bulldogs have the guts to go for it on a fake?
Yeah, that's the perk of having a quarterback who punts. They're going to stay
with it, and they're going to look deep. Hernandez got a man. Izzy
Zapata, and it pays off inside the 15. He goes.
So the Mules
get burnt deep, anticipating the punt from the do-it-all quarterback, and a little momentum
brewing for the Bulldogs. Inside the 15-yard line they go, and some trickeration. This is Hernandez on the end around, wide open.
Touchdown, Burbank. Rene
Espinosa catching the Mules defense off guard. It's 27-6, Alamo Heights.
So that's a very disappointing defensive drive for 2 reasons. One, as the deep man on the punt return, you've got 2 jobs. Fill the punt, don't fumble, and if it's a fake, head on the swivel and find the pass and either pick it off or make sure it's incomplete. And then in the second play with the trickeration, nobody held their assignment, and they were able to get the gadget.
Hernandez gets it off in time. 2-point conversion is good. A disastrous sequence with Leo Lozano hauling in the 2. A disastrous sequence for the Mules. And what looked like had a chance to take over and put points on the board backfires. It leads to 8 coming in a 19-second span. And Burbank punching back a little bit, cutting it down to a 19-point game with 32 seconds left to go in the half.
Burbank Bulldogs proud of the south side. I'm going to keep saying it. I think those cows turned around. The fight is in them, and the fight is on tonight. If you're an Alamo Heights Mules football player, film session tomorrow may not be too fun.
Yeah, that was not how you draw it up.
That is definitely not how Coach Ron Ridham and his crew and staff, Branko, Ricker, have drawn this up. But again, I commend Burbank. They're doing the things that other schools and teams have not even thought of. You're not going to run over the Mules. You better have some trickeration that actually works and makes sense. They had the guts to go for it. Most teams would have punted it, shanked it, and we would have scored with 50 seconds left, making it 34-35-0, and then the clock would have ran in the second half. Now, it won't run in the second half, and we'll see what happens.
It seems like that's the book to at least try to play with Alamo Heights, and you look at the return. Look at that Heights front 6 right there, front 5, anticipating that trickeration once again. The onside kick
be a
once.
False start, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't run at the ball, stop, pull up, and people were going forward.
You're gonna at the coaches meetings this year. You're gonna lead that charge, right?
Not exactly.
This is Trip Johnson holding on to it, crossing the 35, 40, cross midfield. He goes to the 40, cutting back inside, still on his feet. Goes down hard, but does his job. Trip Johnson, the sophomore, inside the 35 he goes. They dial up that number when they need a play like that. It's the number to call, so the Mule's going to get great position at the 34-yard line. 21 seconds left to go. A pair of timeouts in their pocket, too.
Way to respond, Trip Johnson. I just talked about what your job was as a returner. You did it. You hit that corner. You got up the field. You took a spill down, but you put the Mules in position to get a score for the half. Another interesting thing here is if there's not enough time, will we see a field goal attempt?
Only one on the season so far. It's Runnels across the middle at the 15. And timeout, Alamo Heights. It'll be their second for the Mules at the 13-second mark left to go in this first half. Yeah, Flores only one field goal attempt on the season so far.
Yeah.
It was a make from 30 yards.
Definitely. And this is the time right now with 13 seconds, only one timeout. You have to take a shot at the end zone or set up for a field goal and call the timeout. So it'll be interesting to see what they draw up this play. Not going back to my history book, but Ron is known, not as Riverboat Ron, but he's known as going for hook and ladders in this situation. So keep an eye on that.
From here, it would be a 42, with the ball at the 25, it would be a 42, 43-yard field goal. So you would still think, ideally, in a perfect world for Heights, they're looking to get somewhere in 10, 12 yards to work with. With one timeout, you do have a lot of things in your playbook, your figurative and literal playbook, to come up with something here.
Burbank's in a prevent type defense. Last trip down, they were bending but not breaking, and we found a way to needle into the end zone. Right now is a good opportunity to do a screen game, get out of bounds, or if you'd run the ball, because they're getting a little light in the box, you just got to get the time done quickly.
Certainly feasible. They do line Terry out at the slot, though, so that would at least suggest that it's back to the air. But with this offense right now, any suggestion and rationality goes out the window with the versatility that they've had. So Ernst on his feet looking to his left, has Terry, did not get out of bounds. Mule's going to take a timeout, 6 seconds left to go.
I would have liked to actually seen Colin run that ball there.
He had room.
He had enough room to get more yards in the catch, and you saw the timeout you were going to burn anyway. And I'm not certain how he did not get out of bounds. He stretched out, but I guess his knee was in when he fell out.
Heights did get the first down on the play. So ball's going to be spotted at the 19. So from here it would be a 36-yard field goal for Heights. were to kick with the 6 seconds left to go. So you look out on the field, Cortland Hanna actually checking in. The defensive end.
Michael Terry checked out, so.
Terry checked out.
As did Kingston Fleming.
So that would suggest that the field goal is the call here, and that will be the call for coach. So 6 seconds left to go for Flores in what will be a 36-yard field goal, only his second attempt of the season. Timeout Burbank. Going to make coach think about it a little bit more. You always have witty quips about your interactions with Flores. Do you have any this week?
No, because actually he was grinding this week. He's also another student in my business accelerator class. He's an entrepreneur as well. He is a co-founder of a company called Clean Coast Co. It's a bag that turns into a blanket when you go to the beach. So if you're a beach goer, check out Clean Coast Co. on Instagram.
So it's a bag that turns, or a blanket that turns into a bag. Or
Yes.
a bag that turns into a blanket.
So it's a bag that's made out of recycled plastics. And you know when you go to the beach, right? You take your car keys, you take your phone.
Of course.
But you don't want to leave it all over the
You don't.
sand, right? So
No.
they have pockets in this bag, but it turns into a beach towel so you can lay down and chillax.
Is it comfortable? The beach towel itself? Is it comfortable? We haven't gotten that far.
We have a prototype.
We have
right?
the prototype.
But the goal is for it to be recyclable and comfortable.
Yes.
And stylish. If you go to
And
H Sports
stylish.
Media in the future, you will see a plug on that for you. So H Sports Media.
With a headman like they have leading the program, I have no doubt it'll work. Flores' kick from 36 is up. Good, no good. Wide right.
It looked good. It felt good. It just didn't end good.
It looked good off the foot. Not the case. And that is how the first half of play will come to a close. So a little bit of excitement here in the context of Alamo Heights getting a counterpunch back against Burbank. They head into the break with a 27-8 lead. Burbank will get the ball when we come back from half. Until then, we step aside. Mules with the advantage here at SAISD Sports Complex. You are watching Alamo Heights Football, a production of AH Sports Media.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Alamo Heights Independent School District proud to present 2023-2024 Mighty U.S. Marching Band, the Alamo Heights High School First Team. The Mighty U Band is under the field leadership of President Carolyn and neighbor the 2023-2024 Alamo Heights Shire Captain are carries on the Conley Kayla perform the first three parts of our competition marching show entitled Primary Sources. Tonight's performance features soloists Sophia Fuentes on flute, Julian Mendoza on oboe, Lawrence Siculi on flute, and the saxophone quartet featuring Christopher Carpio Walker, Andy Lee, Raul VIERA, and Andre Gonzalez.
out there today on the field?
I couldn't go. I haven't
We started chasing the hill and I was like, oh, Jackson.
That was a long line. We found Hudson. We're like, this is a kid in line with us. So
Our principal is Mrs. Irene Calabasas. Our assistant principals are Ms. Genevieve Manning, Mr. Eric Francis, Ms. Laura Gerard, and Mr. Mark Mendoza. Our school board representative is Mr. Archie Valdez. On behalf of the Burbank community, we would like you to thank you for your kind attention. Go Bulldogs!
Little less than 2 minutes before we kick off the third quarter of play here at SAISD Sports Complex, along with LaRhon Fields. Casey Vieira here with you. A 27-8 lead. It's been a fun 19-point lead game, if you will. And we've seen a very active Burbank team, despite the end result, or the current result, if you will, where things stand right now. So, well, let's revisit the keys to the first half here, or keys to the game, if you will, to which you said that Kevin Hernandez must be exceptional for Burbank to win. This is special teams must not allow easy scores or short fields, and the defense has to create turnovers. So far, it's been largely to par, with the exception of maybe turning over that one turnover that they had. Burbank's kind of held their own on that front. And then on the other side, the Mules playing to the standard mistake-free football and pressure on the Bulldogs offense. Nothing really glaring one way or another.
Not necessarily glaring, but a couple of coaching points that I mentioned. But if you decide to throw it, you gotta be the guy to knock the ball down or pick it off and take it to the just to get yards. It can't be a completion one way or the other. And for the defense, getting tested in the air with the trickeration is something they have on film now that they can work on. They haven't seen it all year, so I understand why I was a little shaky, but that's something to work on.
Burbank's going to get the football to start this quarter. You're just off of the game. They onside or rather 40-yard line, but they're going to get the ball to commence this third quarter of play, coming off of a drive that looked like it was very much down heroic. This first half of play, Michael Terry with 3 touchdowns leading the way for the Mules, and that's how we got to the 27 that we do have. But we will see if that translates to the third quarter in a battle of 4-0 teams in District 14 5A D2, ready to commence the second half. LaRhon, what are we thinking in these next 2 quarters?
I'm thinking that the Mules have to come out and get a stop early and go score on the first offensive possession. This game is not over, and I say that in the sense of the Bulldogs have not shown quit, so you can't quit. This may be the first game where we go 4 quarters with the starters, which is needed. So all in all, this is a great game for your Mules.
So Lozano has a hard time fielding it, gets a handle on it, cross the 20 he goes, where he's taken down by 4 white jerseys. It's interesting you mentioned the play in the 4 quarters thing, and one of the things we talked to Ron Rittiman about was the last 2-3 weeks, the game's been in check. It's been a running clock by the time the game hit the third quarter. 1 possession into this third quarter, it was a running clock, convincing wins, which meant that starters were getting pulled after the essentially 3 minutes into the third quarter. So we asked Coach, we said, is that kind of a concern? And he said, yeah, because you want to get them out there in these competitive games. Why wouldn't you want them out there 4 quarters? But more of the emphasis still is on the Monday through Thursday part of things, as Hernandez is going to dance around a little bit, staves what could be a disaster into a little bit lesser of a disaster. 2nd down and 12, upcoming loss of 2 on the play. So it's understandable why Ron would feel the way he feels, because when you're going 3 straight games where your starters are playing 2.5 quarters, if that, yeah, it's a topic of conversation. Hernandez goes to his left. Zapata, positive gain, well short of the marker, going to bring up third down. Izzy Zapata with one of the big blows in the first half, a handful of them. Had a catch that took it across midfield. Rene Espinosa has the lone score so far for the Bulldogs, which was a 20-yard TD catch from Kevin Hernandez, who has not thrown an interception this season. And he's going to go deep once again. Short hops his man. He's looking the direction of Lozano, and that'll bring up a 4th down and 7 at the 10:53 mark.
Secondary is definitely getting tested right now. I don't know if that coverage was solid. It was a pass that was errant, but the man was open.
So Hernandez will punt it away and back to return or chase it down. That's Max Bacon. Ball's going to be downed at the 35-yard line. Something interesting that you saw there was that the formation that they have to send out there on special teams, though not necessarily applicable on that possession, when you have a quarterback who can make plays, you almost can't sacrifice the one spot as a returner there, because when they did do that, the one time they did do it, they got burned. So that time showing them the respect of having a full 11 guys and keeping the DB on the field, and if he does punt, taking whatever happens with it from there.
And I'm hoping that gets coached up in the bye, right? Because you can't allow that to happen in a game of a higher magnitude. You can't let the other return dictate terms. You've got to have somebody back to return it, and you have to have your protectors for the fake.
Michael Terry back at it, picking up a 1st down and a little bit more, crossing the marker just shy of the 50-yard line. Michael Terry, fantastic day on the ground today. 3 scores for number 2.
Yeah, he got away with the hold right there. I'm disappointed. Although it was blocked, I did see holding against the Mules, but you know what? As the homer would say it, 1st down, Mules.
We got to get your voice recorded, so when Alamo Heights gets back home.
Man, we haven't been home so long. I feel like I've been a roadie.
Because essentially we have. It'll be, by the time the Mules do get back home to Harry B. Orem Stadium 2 weeks from tonight, it'll be homecoming, and it'll also be the first game of the season. As Terry lost the football, ball is loose on the play. It looks like he got it back. He did. The 3rd down and long upcoming. Yeah, it'll be just shy of a month before Alamo Heights plays back from State Jefferson on homecoming 2 weeks from tonight. Ron Rittiman, one of the things we had a conversation with him about was in this stretch where Heights is playing 3 of 4 on the road, which is game 2 of 3 on the 4 tonight on the road. So much in sports you hear road trips, like, oh, this is a road trip here, being away from home. Not cliche, but that's the type of things you see. When you're in the high school football world and all these games are 30 minutes apart, as Ert's going to pick up the 1st down a little bit more inside the 35-yard line. In the high school football world, your road games, your home games, basically within a 30-minute of each other in its entirety.
Yeah,
but
Well, one of the things you brought up, I said, does that still have an impact because it's not a ton of travel? And he said the biggest thing is adapting to the fields, adapting to the stadiums. That's the biggest challenge that you face being away from home. And every time you do that, while you might not have the fatigue of going on those road trips, it's still a thing there as mules get called for a hold, so take back the bigger and slow.
Well, it's atmosphere, it's field, but nowadays field's not really, because everybody is field turf in it, right? It is atmosphere, and you have unfamiliar confines. If the opposing team's energy is live like tonight with Burbank, you haven't silenced them. It does make a difference, right? You're right. Like the travel part is not like you got to go 2 hours or an hour out the way, but it still has some effect. You're not in the comfort of your own warm up at your field.
Ernst got to get out of trouble. He can't do it. That line collapsing, and the Bulldogs playing the part. So a 3rd down and 16 on deck for Alamo Heights. Yeah, talking about an atmosphere. 2 good weeks, 2 weeks in a row we've had a good atmosphere. Last weekend at McCollum, and this weekend here tonight, SAISD Sports Complex. Last weekend against McCollum, I should say, at Harlandale Memorial Stadium.
Very spirited. The Burbank Bulldog Band they're loud, they're small but mighty. Their crowd is at capacity on their side. Our crowd is at capacity. It feels like a good neutral site. I'd say it's somewhat of a playoff atmosphere.
Heights is kind of becoming one of those deals where they're going to be in your building. The place is going to fill up because it's a big game. You know it's a big game. It's coming as this is Bennett Johnson. Gets up to midfield, short of the first down. Going to be by about 8 or 9 yards.
Is this the first time the punt team's been on all season? Or since again? Because Mike Terry's the punter, so yes, it had to be since because he faked one against Brackenridge.
Against Brackenridge on this field. They did have the punt team out to close out the first half, and he faked it and ran it however many yards all the way back. But I believe that's the last time Alamo Heights has had the punt team out there.
And notice how Brackenridge, Burbank is stacking their punt return. They're playing for the fake as well, and look, here we go, we faked it. We got holding on the edge, and he ran right into the tackle. Turnover on downs.
Yeah, indeed it is. Thinking the same thing they did last time they brought out the punt formation, but nobody home this go around. So ball in a good field position as well at the 46-yard line. So we'll see what Coach Mullen company have in store. A chance to chip into this 19-point deficit at the 8:09 mark here in the third. Still a lot of football to go.
I understand the call, but I don't like it, and I'll tell you why. I'd rather play field position and make them drive it than to give them life. This is a spirited bunch, and look what we have here.
That's Hernandez picking up
first and 15 run.
There it is, flag in the vicinity of holding in the backfield, so we'll see if it stands.
The Bulldogs feel like they have a fighter's or a puncher's chance, and we don't need to give them any life. Luckily, this flag may help atone for that, but you don't want them thinking that they belong on the field.
Yeah, that's a killer for Burbank. Rene Espinosa going to be whistled for the flag, so bring that thing back. 15-yard.
That could be a drive killer.
Yeah, 15-yard plus pickup. All heading back the other direction. Pivotal drive here. Pivotal drive. Points on the board. You would imagine, even if it's just 3 points for Burbank, what would make this a 2-touchdown game plus the conversions. But we'll see what they got. Drive just got a little bit harder now at a 1st and 20 from the 36 inside 8 minutes to go. Hernandez to his right, rolling out. Pass is complete.
He got the yard.
Call it a catch. Justin Penuelas doing a good job getting the uniform dirty. So, yeah, the yardage back, 10 on the pickup, 2nd and 10 on the 46.
They're going tempo. Burbank, for the most part, has been very disciplined tonight. Here we go, another throw deep.
Thick and deep he does. Espinosa knocked around, incomplete. Max Bacon challenging the wide receiver on that one. So they were thick and deep to Espinosa once again. They got beat. They beat him once already today with that. Not again. So 3rd down and 10 upcoming for the Bulldogs.
This is definitely the most passes attempted against our defense all season combined.
Hernandez got the pressure coming, keeping the play alive. Across midfield he goes to the 45. Spin move just shy of the 40. We'll see if it's enough. It is. Kevin Hernandez doing as advertised on this drive, picking up the 1st down.
Tempo again.
End around. This is Hernandez. He's got trouble. 6 jerseys chasing him in the backfield. Had Espinosa and just threw it out of his reach.
It seemed like a blitz of pressure, and we almost paid for it because that receiver was wide open. Right now our defense is discombobulated with Burbank going tempo. We got to figure this out. This is a good to have on film.
You've said it all year, LARHON. If you want to have a chance to get a puncher's chance or have that puncher's chance against Heights, you got to be assertive, got to pick up the tempo. And at least tonight, the book is out a little bit because Burbank has moved the ball consistently almost every drive. As still in the air they go, pass is incomplete. Going to be a 3rd down upcoming.
Well, what this tempo does, right, what it does for your defense, A, you get tired, B, the pressure sometimes will subside and it gives you a chance to score. Because as we know in high school, not every defense is 100% complete. There are weaknesses on there, however you want to splice it or dice it, which gives the offense the opportunity, the advantage. And with Kevin Hernandez being athletic, he's running around the field, tiring out those ends, and he's finding holes and gaps. Empty backfield.
3rd down and 10 coming. Hernandez thinking deep, gonna go deep, pass complete inside the 5. It's Izzy Zapata. 30 on the play. A 1st down and goal from the 5 for the Bulldogs.
Longest pass reception against the defense all season. And I hate to say it, we looked clueless back there. I will say Hernandez paid for it with a big hit from the defensive end from Alamo Heights.
Yeah, he got rocked. Heights got aggressive and then got beat from it from behind. He's going to stay on his feet, Hernandez, and again swallowed up by 3 jerseys. Got inside the 5. 2nd and goal from the 4, maybe 3.5 yard line.
Here's where that turn downs does not pay dividends, and giving them an opportunity to score to cut the lead in half makes this a game that's going to go the distance. So buckle up, Alamo Heights, and let's defend the goal.
Yeah, pivotal drive here.
Touchdown, Bulldogs. Quarterback keep doing what he does. 27-14. Now a 2-touchdown.
I will say the silver lining of this is all season the Mules offense has responded. That's what we expect and need on their upcoming and ensuing drive. As long as the special teams does not get shocked with another onside kick. Gotta get more momentum back in our building, our side.
Yeah, the momentum has shifted. It feels like it's been weeks since since that 27-0 lead as they line up for 2 once again. It's amazing what one play can do, right?
Well, it was more
if
than
they
one
punt
play.
that, I'm to end the first half there.
Yes.
That one play, when they
Missed
called the
field goal.
timeout, instead of punting from
Yes.
midfield with 51 seconds left, they got ambitious, converted inside the 20. Did Burbank, scored the next play. That one play has changed this game right
The
now.
only reason why I'm saying it's not just one play, they've had this swagger and attitude all night. They've stuck to it, right? They have not diverted. We, on our end, have just we haven't really bugged, so to speak. That play helped the momentum. They onside kick. So they came out here with a plan of we're punching and to your point, punt, the trickeration on the actual touchdown, 1 for 2. They're moving the ball down the field. That's giving them confidence, and then they get a stop on defense. We missed the 4th down, so now it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah,
That's the look of a team right now that hasn't gotten a counterpunch back in the mouth for 3 weeks. They're getting hit. And you're saying, oh, okay. We got hit back in the mouth. We got a game. Hernandez staying on his feet, keeping the play alive.
Fortunate thing with these plays is they're nothing special. It's roll out to the right and hit the open man.
If it stands the score, it'll be 27-16. Which
Of course, we're making a touchdown, 2-point and a field goal. I imagine this would be a formation penalty, you would think?
It has to be formation or a legal man downfield. It's a long
We'll
conversation.
see. That's the literal 12th. That's the literal 12th man.
Yeah.
Understandably so. did so. Yeah. Four receivers. And he's not going to get anywhere with it.
And in 27-14.
Heights defense, we talked about the front seven, more specifically the front four in this game.
Really, the third consecutive week, they have looked the part of a team that Ron Whitman, the front four, again, more specifically, has been tremendously complimentary of. As they have had
Hernandez active all night. Only issue is when Hernandez is active and running for his life, he's still able to do a lot of good things with the football.
Well, the front end and the back end aren't working together, and that's what you see with this defense, right? The front four are getting pressure, but then when Kevin has a slight chance of daylight, he's flinging it down the field to a receiver that's not being really contested. So that's where you need the back end and the front end working together and in concert, so there's interceptions, there's batted balls, and again, to Alamo Heights, credit or what have you, they haven't faced a passing team. This is the most passing attempts all year on defense.
All year.
On the secondary. They've literally just been gatekeepers of the run.
Yeah, we saw it a bit in Seguin, and his onside kick they go. This time they don't get it.
Missed an opportunity here for the officials to throw the flag for offsides on the kickoff. They had half the people down the field on the onside kick. But we have the ball.
I was going to say the Mules got it anyway.
Yeah,
so
thank goodness.
It's the way things are going. If they were to accept the penalty, that was a flag. Burbank come back and onside kick the football one more time.
Well, it'd be from a longer distance. But what I'm saying here is this is almost like, we're used to seeing the 50-yard start, but this is almost advantage Burbank because now they've been stingy on defense. We've had to drive, but if we stall, are we going to kick the field goal? Are we going to go for it? Will we convert? And then they can take the ball down the field. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, what kind of counter bunch does Colin Ernst have? This is a good start, giving it to Michael Terry, crossing the 35. Good gain on the play, about 6 or 7, bringing up second down.
When in doubt, hand it to 2.
But this is what Ron wants. This is what he's been saying as a Bulldog down on the play. This is something that he's, for lack of a better term, for the sake of effect, he's been clamoring for in the past few weeks. His team hasn't had a counter punch.
No.
Since Seguin. It's been 3 weeks.
And even then, that didn't count because that was your first game. You didn't know who you were. You were filling yourself out, and you found out who you were because you got the victory.
Right. And I think that's part of the reason why you're going into these games. And he's saying at length, I want this team to see adversity. I want to know how we respond when we give up a big play with 51 seconds left, what essentially is the punter passing the football, followed up by a score to start the second half. I want to see how we respond. And this is it. So it's saying, okay, Colin, okay, Michael Terry, now I want to see this.
And
this is what he's been asking for.
You want that, and you want to be able to get out with the victory. So the double bonus is if you can get the win, and you get the adversity without getting the pain of suffering a loss. So what I like to say is you may have came in too cocky, and now you can go get film and you can turn that into swagger.
2nd and 2 is the spot. Terry pushes the pile at the line of scrimmage. Looks like he pushed it just enough. He did across the 40. So first down in favor of Heights. It's been the MO to put the ball in Terry's hands on the ground today, and it's worked.
I would like to see this is where I guess what we're talking about, other teams haven't counterpunched. We've gone a little conservative, right? We haven't thrown the ball much. Colin hasn't run the ball much. And I'm looking at the Burbank defense. They are literally bracketing Michael Terry if he was a receiver. They're deep and they're spread out. So there's not many options for Colin Ernst to drill the ball to. So we're sticking to the running game. But we're running nowhere. I think Colin should have kept that one.
They're trying to force Colin Ernst to pass the football.
Yeah, basically.
And they're saying if Terry beats us on a rush on the inside, so be it.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
I mean, if he gets 4 touchdowns tonight, right, or 5, cool. But nobody else is going to beat us. It's the same thing we do to other people. And tonight, our players got to recognize that. Colin Ernst has got to recognize that he can't just run the ball and be carefree with it. He has to run the ball on a mission and with purpose and get where he's got to get. But we also have to get other people involved, and that's how you shake up other people's defenses. That's why our defense is shook. It's not just, yes, Kevin Hernandez is doing his thing, but other people are helping.
And again, 8 guys in the box. More of the same. Now Ernst's going to try to show off the arm. He goes short. Bennett, Johnson.
There we go.
A positive gain on the play. And that's exactly it.
Yes,
they're saying Colin Ernst passed the ball. Colin Ernst taking it, passing the ball. Picking up a gain, positive gain on the play, forcing a 3rd down and short, 2nd down and short.
Take
third
what
down
the
and short,
defense gives you. That's the philosophy. Take what the defense gives you, make them pay for what they try to do, and then that's how you demoralize the defense. You don't just, run the ball over and over. You have to dink and dunk, mix and match, and then take your shots when they fall asleep. Right now they are spreading out.
Yeah, 3rd down and 2 upcoming. Let's see what they go back to once again. It's Terry right into the line of scrimmage, using every inch of that frame. And it appears it's going to be enough for a 1st down. It did. It is. Put it at the 30-yard line. 1st down, Alamo Heights. And then if you're on the defensive side, you're saying, all right, we held Michael Terry to 2 yards. Generally speaking, most running backs doing that, that's a loss of 1.
Exactly.
Easier said than done. 4:15 now left to go in a 27-14 game. Back to the ground. Terry runs into the line of scrimmage, picking up a yard.
This is where I like to see again. Colin Ernst needs to run the ball more because the middle of the defense is stout.
He had a window if he held on to that football.
Yeah,
on the RPO.
I hear you. Like, I don't know what the read is on this play, but right now, from I'm seeing, the Burbank defensive line is very stout. They're holding the point of attack. Our O-line is not getting the push they normally get, open up the holes. So at this point, Colin on the edges, if he can get to the outside and cut up, you help your running game on the inside. Burbank DBs aren't pushing up. This is the first time I've seen them under 5 yards.
This is DK Garza. First time since the first quarter we've seen him touch the football. First time since the opening drive, actually, we've seen him touch the football.
So what that looked like right there, right, is it wasn't Michael Terry. DK was able to get some yardage because it seems like the defense wasn't focused on DK Garza, which goes back to my point of they don't want Michael Terry to beat you. That's who they're going all in for. Now he's out wide a receiver. I say look for a pass to him, that short pass. He has the height advantage, but he's being bracketed. He's got a safety over the top. Corner has help, so he's going to be physical on the bottom. Weak side's being bracketed. They're playing doubles over the top with the man free.
Yeah, and showing blitz in the front 7. Garza making Ernst hold it on the RPO. Back to the inside, getting a good block up the field. Touchdown, Alamo Heights. And Burbank saying beat us at Colin Ernst. He does. He did. 33-14.
That's all I was asking for, right? When you're playing chess or checkers, it's all about strategy, and you gotta take your chances in your shots, and sometimes you gotta mix it up. Good job by Mike Branco of recognizing and understanding the situation because they needed that score desperately to put this game in the momentum back in their hands. You drove the field. You made the Bulldogs work.
That drive probably made Ron Ritterman's night right there. Extra point is good because he wanted to see how his team comes back with the counterpunch, and they responded. They put a touchdown on the board. It is still a 20-point game, but that's what he wanted, and they did. Yeah. So 34-14 now is what the math reads.
And it's funny, when you have a ball game of this magnitude where you do have people going back and forth, punching back and forth, it's funny how it's like it's the third quarter with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left. and it feels like this half just started. And so now we're 2 minutes and 24 seconds away. Burbank could drive the field. They could get a score, or they could get stopped, and we could score. But you just feel like this is a ball game, and it was desperately been needed for the Mules.
Yeah, we're talking about how it was more of a conservative drive in terms of play calling right there. Hasn't really been the case for a majority of the season while the game is still in touch and competitive. But it was interesting. It was a more reserved drive. They burned the clock, burned about 4 minutes off of it, and ultimately leading to points. Not much more you could ask for if you're coach. And the way things are going, quieting down that far sideline, that Burbank sideline for the time being. So it's now a 20-point lead.
And, you know, let me put this in the atmosphere. Maybe Coach Branco was trying to give the defense a rest, right? Because now you drove the ball, you burned some clock.
And no rest in here. Look at Leo Lozano. Across the 25, and he's banged up on the play. Continue your thought. Go ahead.
It's just overall, right? Like maybe Branco was trying to run some clock, shorten the game a bit. So if when we did score, 3 touchdowns hard to come back from. This hadn't been our cleanest game all season, so it's just been fun to watch and see us be resilient through our struggle. We've been still finding success. So defense right here has the opportunity to respond, which they've done all year. Let's see what happens.
Lozano in motion. Hernandez going to his left. Nobody's home, trying to keep the play alive. Doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Great hustle.
Yeah, that defense, Heights defense all over it that time.
Aaron Silva with a nice hustle. He roll called to the football and got Hernandez out of bounds, only getting, a yard? Oh, loss of a yard. Great hustle. That's what you teach.
Aaron Silva, 23, coming down. He stands on a 2nd and 11 inside of 2 minutes. First, eyeing across the middle. Hernandez got Lozano. See if they call it a catch. From the naked eye, looked like it was. Spotted at the 42. He did. Leo Lozano, good pass and catch.
Tempo.
Completion. Yep, and back comes the tempo. Gain of 15 on the play.
We've got to tighten up that back end of the secondary because those balls are straight down the middle. Right now we have 0 safety help. We're split wide on our safeties. They're spreading out the field with 4 receivers.
Yeah, Burbank has found something in the middle today, and right on cue, nearly intercepted.
Oliver Duffin.
Henry Bruton.
I'm sorry, Henry.
Getting a hand in there. Right on cue, I was going to say that Burbank has found something with these passes over the middle, but a good job by Heights. Safety coming down, reading that, and almost making them pay, kind of going back to the well one too many times.
If you're Coach Mo, you got to like where you're at. Regardless of what the score says, you got to like the fight.
Screenplay, again they go. Not a whole lot going on. Zapata taken down. Heights defense again sniffing it out. Going to present a 3rd down and 10, if not more, as we're inside of a minute here in this 3rd quarter of play.
I would have to assume this is 4-down territory. Ball up in the air.
Oh, Lozano hauling it in. Is it a catch? It is. Wow, Leo Lozano over the shoulder, got 1 foot in, all he needed. Fantastic play. Two impressive catches on this drive. One diving, the other over the shoulder. So they cross midfield. Here come the Bulldogs again. And they go to the ground that time. First time we're calling Edward Palomo's name.
I have to say I'm confused with what the defensive strategy is for us tonight. And again, it could be because we haven't experienced this all year. But and again, I didn't watch film on Burbank coming in. I don't know if they've done this all year. But we got to find a way to not let these deep balls get completed.
And deep they go once again. Pass is incomplete. He was looking across the middle.
Coverage.
Yeah, Luke Guerrero out of the slot. Good coverage indeed by the Mules.
It seems like we struggle on the multiple man routes down the field. That one was a single man over the middle, so we were there to cover. But I do like the fact that Burbank, they're mixing up. They're going from spread to bunch to all these multifaceted formations, which is great for Alamo Heights because, again, they get film to know where to strengthen up their defensive tendencies. 11 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah,
third down.
A 5-receiver set this going around with 11 seconds left here in the third. Hernandez goes to his left. It's got a man. It's Espinosa. We'll see where they spot it. Either way, it'll bring us to the end of this third quarter of play. Ball's going to be short of the first down marker. So on the other side of the break, going to be a 4th down and 1 for Burbank right now. Of play. So a 4th down upcoming here to start this 4th quarter of play for the Bulldogs. A 4th down and 1 man in motion. Hernandez going to hold on to the play action, thinking deep. Got a man out of the reach of Peter Peralta.
We dodged the bullet there, right? Because they'd been moving and grooving up and down the field with their passing attack. What I find interesting is we're getting pressure on the backside on our rush and not on the front side where they're rolling out to. So Burbank's either doing a great job of blocking that end or we're just not getting through their blocks to get the pressure to cause some havoc, to put him in a box. So here we go on offense, get another score, and put the baby to bed. Michael Terry is wide open on the bottom. I just had to throw that out there.
To the outside, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Colin Ernst, touchdown, 62-yard score for the Alamo Heights captain, 40-14. The Mules tack on to that lead.
Oh, baby. I think it's time to put them to bed.
That might have been it.
I mean, yes,
That might have been it.
it was it, right? And I say that here.
Flores, so make it 41-14 with 11:40 left to go in this one. Now, give credit to Colin.
Yes.
Give credit to him because last time out, last drive, well, I guess not, 2 drives ago, coming off of a touchdown, he comes out, scores. This time, after a 4+ minute drive. This time, first play, 60+ yards, he scores again. Doing what he needs to do as the quarterback. This is what Ron Ritterman wants. Respond when your team needs you to, and did that tonight.
What I liked about that touchdown run is what I asked for earlier. Colin Ernst has to run the ball like a man on a mission. That one, there was no games. He made his 1-2 move, got upfield, hit pay dirt. That's the goal every time. Sometimes I feel like you do it so easily that sometimes you get lackadaisical. He was laser focused on that touchdown run.
It's interesting because we were saying they'd gotten a little one-dimensional.
Yes.
Going back to Terry on the inside, and you know if we're seeing that up here, the coaching staff seeing that down here.
Definitely.
I guess technically next to us too.
Next to us downstairs.
Yeah, because we got the booth next. The coach has got the booth next to us. But still, point being, if we're seeing that, they're probably seeing that as well. And they changed it up a little bit. And as a result, the advantage is 27. As Lozano stumbles just shy of the 20-yard line.
It goes back to that DK Garza run that I pointed out when Michael Terry was not in, and he got about 6 yards in the run up the middle. And I was like, hey, it's amazing when Michael Terry's not in the backfield, the defense is a little loose. So here we go. Michael Terry was on the far left side of the boundary. Colin Ernst ran his direction. Michael Terry was wide open, no cornerback on him, only a safety over the top, and there you go. Voila.
The pass is incomplete. The luxury of having an all-state player, right?
This is where you feel like they're deflated. That's the first time we got pressure on the quarterback and the ball went awry. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And tonight for Alamo Heights, they had to have a marathon-type game, which is great. Their pads probably got more sweat on them than ever, and their cleats probably got more usage out of them than they have since Seguin.
Again to the air, Hernandez. Zapata fighting for a couple more yards.
Feisty.
Zapata. It's going to be a first down. They're going to give it to him. They are.
First and 10 at the 28.
Good job by Izzy Zapata. Picking up the extra yardage. A little bit of fight with it on the play. It's kind of one of those games. No, go ahead.
Not that I feel bad, right? But I feel bad in this sense. Last week's game was 49-28, and it wasn't that close. This game is 41-14, and it felt closer. So if there's anything, I don't want people running around thinking, oh, the Bulldogs got, beat down. No, they fought all game long, and we were thoroughly impressed. And there's something to say for this, right? Give them kudos, give Coach Mo credit. I like to see these people finish second place in the district because, keep that tradition going on the south side, pride for it. And they earned it. They literally have earned the respect of the Mules tonight.
They've played the part of a team ready to play the best team in the district. You could tell it's a well-coached team, a well-prepared team, an enthusiastic, energetic team. And one of the things Mike Mull really prided himself in is getting the commitment to getting these guys to buy in as Hernandez got to pick up the first down going short in the slot. Lozano taken down by just about everybody on the field. But the idea of commitment goes a long ways at this point if you're a new head coach. Not only a new head coach, a first-time head coach. And it all started with Hernandez and having guys like that screen play, positive gainer. Luke Guerrero doing a good job.
Got some
Bringing up
substitutions
second down.
coming in for Alamo Heights. Lauren Christian's back in the game. I'm sure they got a little winded tonight. Sorry, Lauren Christian's checking out of the game.
Hernandez got a man wide open, Lozano, and a good hit out of the safety position, but it looks like it was just a little bit too early.
No, he was
Aaron
not
Silva.
early. I can't let you say that on air, Casey. That was a perfectly timed collision. The ball was in his hands, and the safety did what he does best, and that was to let the receiver know that he was there. But, again, it's high school, and we're going to err on the side of what they call safety, and I call error and judgment by the Zebras, and that was an unofficial. That was an unfortunate situation, but that was not. I was looking for it. It was a loopy pass.
You don't think he got there early? Because they're not calling it a targeting.
No, not targeting. I'm saying they're calling what they call it, pass interference.
Yeah,
yeah. He wasn't there early, and the ball. He dislodged the ball from the receiver. The receiver had the ball.
He definitely dislodged it from Lozano, and Lozano taking a break on the sideline would indicate that.
Yeah. I'm not calling it a target. I'm saying it was just he was a perfectly timed play because the DB was not there when he caught the ball, but he broke on him and dislodged the football.
Either way, call it a pass interference and put the ball at the 31-yard line. As Hernandez staying on his feet, knocked up in the air, nearly intercepted. Hernandez working that middle once again, going back to Guerrero on the third time of this drive. You brought up the blindside pressure that they're getting every time. You could tell that at this point you'd assume that's by design, trying to go
Yes.
at that left tackle over there.
You almost need to run a stunt and come up the middle, right? Because you're making your DN run the long way. Hernandez is moving to his right or left just enough to get the pass off. Here we go, up the middle prep. There we go, first time, but then we don't deliver.
Yeah, Hernandez staying alive, looking deep down the field, caught, touchdown. Izzy Zapata, about as good as it gets from the Burbank standout. 41-20 your score. Zapata, a little bit of the theatrics in the end zone.
In that time right there, Gage Sharp, he was in decent position, but he turned his head too early and lost the receiver and lost the ball, and Zapata was able to haul in a TD.
Conversion try knocked away. So it'll stay 41-20. So for Zapata, 2 more touchdowns tonight. He's at 4 on the season, leading wide receiver on this Bulldogs team. Something that I think will be interesting schematically that we might come across, I guess, in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks now when the Mules play Harlandale, is whether or not they take one of the linebackers off the field and go with an extra DB more consistently.
Well, see, again, every game
When you're
different.
facing another passing team like Harlandale. When Jefferson in a couple weeks, no.
No, they run the wing T. However, with Harlandale, though, they still have somewhat of a running game.
Yeah.
So they're more balanced. Their coach, Albert Torres, loves to air it out, but he also has a running game. So for Alamo Heights, you have to, just like offensively, we saw, okay, the Michael Terry experiment up the middle worked early. They collapsed on it late. We sent them outside. The middle was opening in. You have to play chess and checkers in this game. So the strategy is you have to be prepared for everything. Tonight, our DBs got their work cut out for them, and they have enough film. The blessing of this game, of it all, right, is we're winning. We've got film. It's not our best performance, but it's a correctable performance. You and I both have seen the changes on defense and offense from week 1 to week now, so I expect more changes, not in a negative way, but the corrections needed for that not to be a glaring issue.
Onside kick. Burbank got it. It looked like there was early contact here. Let's see if they talk about it.
And the receiving team can't make contact with the kicking team can't make contact with the receiving team.
Yeah, Burbank got to it
and
early.
I didn't see a single yellow flag on the field.
And there was not a flag. There was not a flag on the field. Burbank got to that football early. And they'll talk about it.
And nothing to talk about. You must go 10 yards and you must not make contact.
It's interesting that they didn't, and they're seeing the same thing we did, in that Burbank touched the ball early there, but still no flag on the field.
That's my point. Like, you're single, like, you threw a flag on pass interference, and you have 8 eyes looking at an onside kick, and nobody throws a flag?
But that just the general formality of throwing the flag.
Just to say there's an issue.
To say there's an infraction, you throw the flag.
And then if you don't throw the flag and you're saying there's not an infraction, now you have it starting in the wrong field position. Because even if we did recover it, it's still like there was something that went wrong. Now we're going to move the ball forward. Or no?
We'll see.
Are we re-kicking? What? All I see is balls being tossed and nobody communicating with the microphone.
I'm not sure who's the most confused people right now. Us, the coaching staffs, the players, the officiating crew, somewhere in the middle. At the end of the day, either way, they got the call right.
Whoever's in charge of the task. So this is a great film for...
It's a learning experience.
Yes, sir. We're all learning.
We're all learning.
I appreciate the Zebras taking time out of their day and night to be here to officiate the game.
It's a really good experience.
So spotted at the 45. Left side of the ground, they go Arriaga. Gain of about 8. Going to bring up a second down for the senior, as we're going to eclipse the 9-minute mark to go, with Heights working on that 21-point lead.
I expect the play calling to be very conservative, very run heavy, let that clock chill, because clearly the Bulldogs should have been the Vipers because they're striking quick.
2 timeouts in the pocket for Burbank, as they'll come in handy to a certain extent as this clock ticks away. Play clock at 5. Ernst's going to keep it himself. Gets a good block. Ernst to the outside. Trips over his own feet. Now there was a jersey that got a hand on it. Might have gotten tangled up with Arriaga there as well. Either way, first down for Heights. Keeps that clock moving.
On that run, he kind of hesitated and slowed down looking for his next cut. That's where you have to drop that foot in the ground and cut up the middle and get what you can get. The clock is your friend. You're still driving. You already got a net positive gain.
8 minutes to go now. 17 on the play clock. As the Mules will just let this thing bleed out a little bit inside of 8 minutes to go. As it's Garza across the 20 outside the 15, spotted at the 18, and move the chains. Another first down for the Mules. Quiet night for DK Garza. Only 3rd time he's touched the ball this evening.
Very quiet. That's what happens when Michael Terry goes to the running back spot. And
it's interesting because for a while this football game with the Bulldog down on the play and back up, thankfully. This game felt like one of those kind of trap fear games that on the outside looking into the schedule at the start of the season, you're like, there's going to be times where it's just going to be Terry overload for a little while. And there were moments of this game where it felt like Terry overload was kind of happening. The offense got stagnant, but then they changed it up, and it all worked out on the back of their quarterback.
You know what it's like when your best player starts doing work. People sometimes tend to relax, like, oh, we got Mike Terry. But sometimes the other team says we get enough of Mike Terry, and they try to tighten up. But right now, it's Swiss cheese on the Burbank defense with a different running back.
Yeah, and that time it's DK Garza. A 19-yard touchdown score, 47-20. Mules take the lead. Naturally, we're talking about slow day for DK Garza. Gets 3 touches on that drive, and the score on the season for DK. Well,
I don't know if you got a chance to see the. Score every possession. Yes, sir. Yes. Let's go on the field right now. Let's go on the field right now with Coach Mack. Mic'd up with Mack.
Let's go. Head down, follow through, okay? You got plenty of time. The clock's right there. Hey, I was trying to give you a break.
all right, so 7:10 left to go as we hit the, 7:10 mark, 4th quarter, in a 48-20 game, as this one will be spotted just shy of the end zone. Out of bounds it goes. So,
and look what we have on the field. A flag.
that time.
It's like, whoa. Low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to peel it anyway.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, where collectively they made the right call, but the flag was not thrown by anyone.
No,
but anyway, like the correct call was
the head judge,
right.
yeah.
The correct call was made ultimately, but still not one official threw the flag. But they all knew the infraction was there. They saw it. They called it correctly, but they didn't throw the flag. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I've never seen that myself. Well, one thing that concerns me, though, like on the kickoffs, I don't know if they're by design or what, but we haven't seen anything go through the end zone, right? And I'm not a fan of helping giving other team other yards, especially one like Burbank, who is not quitting at all. Kevin Hernandez done pirouetted out of 4 tackles on one play. I would just like to see the ball go out the end zone.
I don't know if you're going to see that the rest of the way. So we only have 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the season. You know, like we haven't seen it all season. The ball's
that's true.
Either
that is true.
Kicked to the 10 or 5, and I don't know if that's by design. Something we got to ask Ron if they're working on something special that we don't need.
They've
to know
liked
about
to
yet.
Go that pooch kick route.
Yeah,
we've seen it a lot this season. Almost every kickoff.
Almost both teams though. Like, I haven't seen any team kick it out the end zone. What do we have here?
Timeout Heights. Jordan Ricker.
He saw something he didn't like.
It's trending towards twin brother Jordan Ricker going to be getting the best of his twin brother Mitchell Ricker, D coordinator on the other sideline.
How much do you think that's why the game is close? Because if Mitchell knows his brother because they're twins, but he also may know Mike Branco because he's been around the block with him, how much of that factors when it comes to calling your game plan? Or is this strictly just what Burbank does?
I mean, I think just like anything else, there's probably an element of familiarity. You know how they react in certain situations here and there and here and there. Being tipped off like that, you know, I think that helps.
Yeah.
But largely, I think this game has been competitive because it's just been a testament to the way Burbank came out and came ready to play tonight.
I can see that. And also we'll find out next week, too, like how they perform against another team. Right now they're in that formation that's
another 4 receiver set. 5 receiver set.
So that's
Hernandez going to the air. Couldn't get on the same page with Espinosa. In case you're wondering, Burbank also on a bye next week. They're back 2 weeks from tonight hosting McCollum. McCollum winning tonight, beating Lanier. So that's looking like it'll be a game of 2 one-loss teams.
With one loss both being Alamo Heights?
Of course, with the one loss being Alamo Heights, yeah.
I would have to go with, from what I've seen tonight, I'd have to go with Burbank on that one. McCollum is feisty and good, but the way that Burbank is playing, they're feisty and good, and their star player actually shows up by design of the play scheme, right? Not saying that Luke Landa didn't show up, but he just wasn't engaged or involved in the playmaking ability that he's capable of.
Yeah, Justin Rodriguez last week was quiet for McCollum against Heights. He only had 65 all-purpose yards altogether. And that was one of the premier playmakers in the district. And Heights did a good job of keeping him in check.
You mentioned McCollum winning tonight. Harlandale is having its way.
Hernandez thinking deep one more time. Good job in the secondary getting a hand on it. Silva going to bring up a 3rd down and long. Continue your thought.
Harlandale's having its way tonight with Brackenridge 43-0.
That's going to be a good game when we get there.
Friday the 13th. Friday Night Lights.
And what we're hoping will be, or so we're told, we've been told, will be the freshly renovated press box and far stands over there at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. Don't want to hold anybody to it, but that's going by what we're told.
No pressure. It's
going to look great when it's done.
Definitely. It looked like a beauty in the works.
Slicing through the defensive line, got tripped up, almost breaking free. Getting a hand on a shoelace there on the back end was George Hale. Not enough for the 1st down, so 4th down and about 7 on deck for the Bulldogs. Make it a third down and 7.
3rd and 7, definitely 2-down territory for the Bulldogs because you have nothing to lose but everything to gain.
We talked about it before. Mike Mull said that this game was a win-win because you win the game, obviously you take the win. But it's a win-win because you use this game to figure out your identity. Good job defended on the play by Gage Sharp. You take this game and figure out your identity of where it is, where the bar is.
Oh, that
and I think this
freshman.
Oh, that's right. All right, Roman Garcia. That's right. He's in the game.
And I only knew that because the ball was a crisp pass. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, how did Kevin Hernandez get sharper as the game got on? And I was like, wait a minute. That's 15 in the backfield chucking that ball. Which, if you're Coach Mull, it's a great opportunity to get him a rep. And I'm just shocked that they punted the ball.
They did, and bobbling on the return is Trip Johnson. Looks like the Mules got it back, though. They did.
That's odd to me that you punted the ball.
I said Johnson. It was Max Bacon on the play.
It's odd that you'd punt the ball at this scenario when you've been scrappy all night, and it was not like third and forever.
Might just want to see more out of your defense.
It's counterintuitive to what you've been doing all night, in my opinion, right? You've been throwing haymakers, and that time you're like,
essentially conceding the game at that point.
Pretty much, right?
I'd imagine this is more he wants to see his defense go up against this Heights squad.
Well, but what are you going to see? We got the game in hand. It's going to be more runs.
Let me rephrase that. He knows what he's going to see, but wants to see them go up against it again.
Gotcha. Makes it more tape.
Yes. Is that a better way to phrase it?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
More academic.
Perfect. Terry's still in the game. It's going to be no gain on the play or a loss of 3 yards on the play. We'll see how much longer the starters are kept in the game as we tick inside 5 minutes to left to go.
They have to finish the game, to be honest with you. Like, I know we're up, but this gives you an opportunity to play them for the next 4 minutes because
they haven't done it since week 1.
No. And you want your starters to close.
4.5 minutes to go. For the Mules, looking into an 8 Bulldog in the box setup is Ernst. Going to keep it himself. Going to his left. Cuts back across the middle. Ernst now going to get to the outside. Has got one man to beat. Not going to catch him. Colin Ernst putting this thing away for the Mules. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the second half.
Once again, when you run on a mission, it looks pretty. It looks quick. It looks efficient, and it hits pay dirt. That time he was a man, one cut up the field to the end zone. And again, not to discredit your academic theory and thought, but I would have gone for it on 4th down because what did you see on defense? You saw Michael Terry run to the right. You saw Colin Ernst run all the way down the field to score. You've seen that before.
Is there an element, though, of wanting to have them learn how to try and stop kind of an RPO quarterback like that? And the only way you're going to learn is going out there and battling something like that.
I hear you, but at this point, what you needed was points, right? I don't need to see my defense stop.
Right. I'm just saying a thought process.
No, I hear you, but I guess what I'm saying is what other quarterback are you facing in the district that's like Colin Ernst?
Closest one is probably the guy that they have themselves.
That's my point. So
yeah, that's fair.
And you have the freshman, right, that you're trying to get reps.
Yeah.
So I need more downs. I need to see him. I think my defense did pretty good.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You know, considering it's Alamo Heights, I want to get better offensively. Points wins games.
That's fair. That's a valid point. I have no counter argument to that. You have put a period onto the end of that sentence, and I have no rebuttal.
Well, you know, it is more so just like if I was the coach, what I'd like to see, right? I got a 14-year-old out there that needs some reps, and you know right now the game's over, so he just threw a pretty pass. Just want to see more reps from the guy. The guy has an impressive arm. I'm thoroughly impressed for the limited action we've seen him. He's noticeable. Like, he may be a problem in years to come for the rest of the district.
Just imagine what he'll be like when he gets his driver's license.
He'll really be driving the ball.
Right? Lozano works it across the 30.
Let's see who comes out of quarterback. Let's see if the youngster comes out or if it's Kevin Hernandez. But going back to that theory, right, now you get to get him and Kevin chemistry as quarterback to receiver, quarterback to athlete, and you can see how that looks on film. And maybe you make that switch sooner rather than later. You got the bye coming up, so you're like, okay. Or maybe you play both of them, but you have packages for both of them.
They have playmakers on this team.
They do.
And they have guys that Garcia can throw the ball to for sure. I don't think that part's in question. And
he's getting them reps now.
Yeah, coming back out for another series as Valdez nowhere to go. Got 4 Golden Domes pushing him past the line of scrimmage. The flag is on the play, though.
Is that the first run play they've had in a while? They're really conceding. I mean, to your point, they're conceding this game by running the ball to run the clock down, but it's just odd that that's not their strength.
See what you got. Dylan Valdez actually making his first start tonight.
What kind of penalty was this?
Well, let's see. Either way, it's going against Alamo Heights.
It definitely is.
Is it a personal foul penalty?
Is it a face mask? I will say the communication tonight from the officiating crew, I don't know if they don't have a mic or not, but we're not getting all the signals we need to give you the information of what's happening.
Garcia overthrowing his man, looking at Justin Punuelas.
I mean, you would agree that it's hard for a quarterback to come into a game that's not gotten a lot of reps to throw the ball precise or to have chemistry with those receivers if it's different when you're in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, without a doubt. The snap goes through his hands. Garcia's going to have to eat it or take a big hit in the backfield. Joseph Duperrier. Getting to the freshman. Big loss on the play. Garcia. Just a little bit of Butterfingers went right through his hands.
Butterfingers. And it's like it just wiped out that penalty we didn't get communicated about. So that reset that as karma would have it.
Call it even, LaRhon said.
It is.
Scoreboard going to call it a down in 26. Inside of 3 minutes here at SAISD Sports Complex as Garcia tripped up again, got it off. Valdez couldn't get a handle on it. So you'd imagine they'd punt now.
The wheels are falling off the bus. But again, he's a freshman, and you want him to get this out. Like, this does not hurt them one bit. You can't – there's not a 35-point play, so get him reps, get his butterflies out of his system, get some tape. Now he's going to be the punter. That's not a bad punt.
Yeah, that was a real good punt. It's going to be downed on the Burbank side of the 35, where the Mules will just try to dot their I's and cross their T's, up by 35 with 2.5 left to go.
I guess you're right, Casey. The second unit is going in. At this point, it makes sense. With 2:33 left, 55-20.
Yeah, that means Robert Mickler getting his number called to come on. Mickler time. Saw a lot of packages from Mickler last week lined up at tight end. VILLARREAL also back in the game as well. But with the exception of a goal line set, a couple of goal line packages in the first quarter, not a whole lot of Robert Mickler being used outside of the traditional quarterback position. Last week, there's probably 10 plays, give or take, that you saw Robert Mickler lining up outside of that quarterback spot before he closed out the game.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. The out of bounds line? Okay. Okay. Michael Terry will be player of the game.
Yards on the ground. It's a timeout on the field. It's going to be Burbank taking a timeout. So as we mentioned before, Alamo Heights off next week, by next week, before they come back home to Harry B. Orem Stadium 2 Fridays from tonight, which will be homecoming over at Harry B. Orem Stadium, taking on Jefferson, a Jefferson team that's very good in their own right as well, a team that plays quite the contrary to the opponent that the Mules have this evening. Jefferson primarily putting that ball on the ground and taking full advantage of it, playing very good football over there. Mules in the middle of a stretch on their schedule. This is a stretch where they play 3 road games, or 3 road games out of 4. The second of the 3 road games they'll play. So they have the game next week, or 2 weeks now, against Jefferson home. But then it's the big one where it's back on the road against what has a chance to be an also undefeated Harlandale Indians team. That game, as LaRon and I mentioned before, at Harlandale ISD Memorial Stadium. Well, we're hoping will be the officially renovated stadium as it's back to the ground. They go one more time, the Mules. That time, Blake Killian out of the backfield. So an 18-second differential between game and play clock. Heights will only need to snap the ball one more time and then call it a day and head back home, head on the highway, head back up Broadway, and walk home with a 5-0 record on this season as we head the midpoint of this season, as probably the way Ron Ritterman hoped it would be at this point, early movement on the line of scrimmage. You'd imagine Ron Ritterman would be happy at 5-0, but still a ways to go, and he's talked about it at length, was that with the expectation as high as it is. 5-0 in the district doesn't exactly mean a whole lot when it's time for the playoffs come December, come November. And those are the games that he's eyeing at that point, and there's still a little bit of ways to go before we get there. So one more snap needed for Heights before they can get on out of here with what's going to be a 55-20 victory here at SAISD Memorial Stadium, or SAISD Sports Complex, should say. McCollum next week, or 2 weeks, I should say, is the opposition for Burbank. That game will be back here at SAISD Sports Complex. Elsewhere around the 14-5A Division II tonight, notable scores. McCollum, they were up big against Lanier, but the Vokes have chipped into the game in the 4th quarter. What was a double-digit deficit. But it's now a 40-33 McCollum lead as they try to move to 4-1 on the season. And with that, they take a knee to the Mules, bringing a close to this one tonight here on the south side. Alamo Heights 55, Burbank 20. The Mules going to 5-0 on the season. Burbank, their first loss of the season. A 4-1 loss for head coach Mike Mull over there and his young head coaching career. He's going to drop to 4-1 so far. Ron Ritterman on the other side of things, as his team moves to 5-0 for his career at Alamo Heights, going to move to 36-6 as the head man of the Mules. Tonight, maintain 5A Division II this evening at SAISD Sports Complex. We're waiting on our friend LaRon Fields. He's down on the sidelines waiting for Ritterman to wrap things up with his team, Coach Ritterman to wrap things up with his colleagues. Interesting thing about Heights this year is that after tonight, they will have played 3 teams this season that have a first-year head coach leading the way. Coach Laderos a couple weeks ago at Highlands, Tony Manning at Brackenridge, and tonight here as well with Burbank and head coach Mike Mull in his first season, and having a conversation with Coach Rittiman, the Heights coach, Ron Rittiman, of course, talking about being in this spot as a head coach, looking at some of these other guys, some of these faces who are new to the head coaching game like he has so far. And one of the things he reiterated in his stance as someone who has been doing this for 35 years now, part of the importance of the gig is to essentially give back to other coaches, and something that he referred to as the greatest fraternity in all of sports. And people have given back to him over the years, of course, staying in the Northeast side with Jim Streety all those years, kind of building his resume there as a coordinator with Madison, and now putting the finishing touches on what will be another victory for head coach, again, number 36 in his head coaching career at Alamo Heights. Notable scorers today, Michael Terry had 4 of them on the ground, 3 in the first half. Colin Ernst, 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, 3 touchdowns in the second half alone. A game that Burbank cut to a 13-point game. It was 27-14 at the 6-minute mark of the third quarter of play. And where the game really changed, Heights took over the ball at midfield and went on a drive, a 4.5-minute drive that ultimately led to a Colin Ernst touchdown. They got the ball back. Ernst put one more score on the board, which made it a 28-point game, and for all intents and purposes, put it away from there. He would add on one more rushing touchdown on top of that for effect, if you will. Another game where he cracks the 100-yard mark on the season. Not sure how it's looking the rest of the way across the district with the math, but in terms of district games, he came in 3rd in rushing yards, but with the numbers today, there's a chance he could overtake that as first. So the 5th game in as many tries, if you include the Seguin game non-district, he has cracked 100 yards on the season for Colin Ernst. As you got a look at head coach Ron Rittiman getting ready to wrap things up tonight here on the south side. Again, LaRon Fields hanging out, waiting to catch up with the head man to talk another victory for the Mules, 5th time in as many tries, and still undefeated since the emergence or the founding of the 14-5A Division II. Yet to lose a game since it came together last year, so they swept the 2022 schedule and on track to do the same so far this year, 4-0 in district play, 5-0 on the season. Our player of the game tonight is Michael Terry. We mentioned the big game on the ground that he had with the 4 touchdowns on the evening. We'll hear from the Mules standout in just a moment, as we will Coach Rittiman, and watch the Mules head on home with another victory. They're 5th in as many tries. So the Mules have cracked, in case you're wondering, have cracked the 40-plus point plateau in every game so far this season. This is the 3rd one they've gone 50-plus in as many tries. Last week they had 49, as you see right there, or about to see momentarily. LaRon is able to track down our head man, Ron Rittiman. LaRon Fields on the sideline with head coach Ron Rittiman. All right, Ron Rittiman, speechless as to the showing tonight. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but that is going to put a bow on Week 5 for Alamo Heights tonight here at SAISD Sports Complex. Again, player of the game, Michael Terry. 4 scores on the ground leading the way, 3 of them as well for Colin Ernst today for the Mules. So 55-20, your final score tonight from here on the south side for LaRhon Fields and all of us in our AH Sports Media production team. My name's Casey Vieira. Have a nice night. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Harry B. Orem Stadium, homecoming when Jefferson comes to town. Good night.